How and why red-blooded American men disappeared from America's top colleges. Episode 4. That is the topic of today's video. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. And if you're interested in learning about whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America, visit areyouontracktogetin.com. Again, that's areyouontracktogetin.com, at which you'll complete a free 3-minute assessment. Your results will be emailed to you right away, and they will help you clarify whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America. As you see here, and I've referenced this chart in every one of these videos, other videos in the series, by the way, are linked in the description to this video, but males overall are increasingly absent from higher education in the United States. And even at institutions where there is a male-female ratio closer to 50-50, my argument is that obscures the reality, which is that the vast majority of males on most college campuses in the United States are actually not red-blooded American males, particularly at the most selective colleges and universities. And you can look up statistics about the proclivities, the preferences of the student bodies, let's say at the Ivies, and you can dig more into that. But today I want to share more related to two important points in sort of my thesis here. One of which is what is the definition for red-blooded? But number two, I want to discuss who are the individuals doing the admitting, both in terms of making decisions around a table about who to admit and who not to admit to America's quote-unquote top colleges, most selective colleges, but also who are the individuals going out to high schools across the United States and presenting information about their universities and colleges. Who are these individuals, and what role might that play in terms of red-blooded American men increasingly being absent from the campuses of America's most selective colleges and universities? But let's start with definitions. Red-blooded. This is an interesting term that I've used multiple times now, but I really haven't defined it. There are different definitions for red-blooded. Google provides one: vigorous or virile, especially in having strong heterosexual appetites, typically used of a man. Quote, he was attracted to her as any red-blooded male would be. Merriam-Webster says vigorous or lusty is the definition for red-blooded. Dictionary.com says vigorous or virile. Cambridge Dictionary says used to describe someone who seems full of confidence or sexual energy. He says he's a red-blooded American male is the sentence that they use there. The Collins Dictionary says if someone is described as red-blooded, they are considered to be strong and healthy and have a strong interest in sex. And then also we have Britannica, which says full of energy, strength, and strong emotion. That's very interesting. Strong emotion. We often don't associate outward emotions with men, but men, of course, have emotions just like women, but they may be different emotions and they may be presented differently than women. And that's important because men take the things happening around them just as seriously as women do, but they may not demonstrate how they're taking those things seriously. And that actually plays a part in today's video in the sense that the inputs coming into the red-blooded American male mind impact and what emotions it creates in the red-blooded American male mind will of course impact the red-blooded American male's mind about whether or not he wants to apply to a particular school or he's motivated or inspired to visit a particular college campus when doing his due diligence about where he's going to go to college or where he's interested in potentially applying. And so this dovetails very nicely with what I want to discuss next, which are the statistics that show that the individuals doing the recruitment and admitting at America's most selective colleges and universities are definitely not majority red-blooded American men. I don't say they have to be, but I would make the argument actually that the very small minority of individuals in admissions are red-blooded American men. We hear all the time about when there aren't enough diverse voices in a hiring committee. That's when you find yourself hiring a certain type of employee, right? Well, wouldn't that go to apply to admissions as well? If a certain type of voice is not at the table making admissions decisions, or certain type of demeanor or disposition is not out there doing the recruitment, visiting high schools, or presenting information sessions to prospective students and parents, it goes to figure that that type of individual may also not be as attracted to that college or university because they don't see themselves reflected in the individuals doing the deciding or even the students on campus. So interestingly, College and University Professional Association for Human Resources puts together a survey every so often of who is working in admissions. And this is very telling. A 2022 Administrators and Professionals in Higher Education survey by this organization has shown the following. Whether you're an entry-level admissions coordinator or counselor, a mid-level, I would call it more of a higher level, head of admissions, or a very chief level, chief admissions officer, very high level, all of these groups are dominated by women. If you look at admissions coordinators and counselors, white men account for 20% in that cohort. 50%, 49.1% officially, are white women. If you look at Hispanics, 7.3% are women, Hispanic women. 3.3% are Latino men. Black men are 4.6% of admissions counselors and coordinators. Black women are 7.4%. And Asian males are 1.3%. Asian women are 2.5%. And if we think about two or more races, women are 2.4% of that cohort. Men are 1.1%. So when you add this all up, the frontline entry-level employees, the people doing the recruitment around the country of American prospective students, only 30% are males. Of those 30% that are males, my argument, having worked in admissions for almost 2 decades, would be that anywhere between 1/3 and 2/3 of the males that are the 30% frontline employees doing the recruitment and admitting, my argument would be 30% to 60%, 66% maybe, are gay men. And therefore, if you take that first definition, or one of those definitions that actually included the word heterosexual of red-blooded, you have a situation where the vast majority of the individuals doing the recruitment for colleges and universities of prospective students, and this is particularly true of highly selective American colleges and universities, are not reflective of the red-blooded American male. All right. Heads of admission, it doesn't change too much. 24.5% are white male, 53% are white women. 2 or more races, 1.5% women, 0.5% male. 2.5% overall are Latino men, 4% are Latino women. Black men are 4%, black women are 5.6%, and Asian women are 2.3%, Asian men are 0.9%. And if you go to the very chief admissions officers or enrollment officers, 33% are men, 45.6% are women, as it relates to the white population. As it relates to the black population, 6.2% black women, 4.1% black men, 1.7% Asian women, only 0.6% Asian men, and 2.4% Hispanic men, 3.3% Hispanic or Latino women. So at most, that's about 40% males at the very chief enrollment officer position. So the admissions field is dominated by women, and of the males in the admissions field, from my personal experience, having interacted with such individuals over my almost 20-year career, definitely at the very minimum, 1/3 of admissions officers are gay men. Of the males, 1/3 of those males are gay. I would say it's probably upwards of almost 2/3, 2/3. So again, from the perspective of a red-blooded heterosexual male who is a 17, 18-year-old who has gotten to the point where maybe he's actually a good candidate for admission to a highly selective American college or university, if then he visits some of them and also some of their admissions officers visits his high school, and he sees individuals representing these institutions that that he doesn't relate to, or he's not attracted to, frankly, that is an issue for getting that type of population, the red-blooded American male, on a college campus. So with all this in mind, you just have to understand that the colleges, even the colleges that present as having 50% male, 50% female, you got to dig into those numbers more. Of the males, a minority of those males would be what I consider red-blooded American male. The number of individuals who are clearing the gauntlet to get to the point where they're even applying to Princeton and Penn and Harvard and Duke and other such schools, a huge percentage of those males who are applying are not red-blooded American male, either because they're international students or they are of the other 40% of males that I've been talking about throughout this series who I would put sort of in the bucket of being male, of course, but not being typically associated with the definitions that I've shared today of a red-blooded American male. And it goes to figure, because of the individuals who are actually doing the recruitment, they're not necessarily attracting or working overtime to attract red-blooded American males. So both implicitly and explicitly, the admissions officers to America's most selective colleges and universities are actually either intentionally or inadvertently repelling red-blooded American men throughout the actual college search and admissions process. That's assuming that once they get there, let's say even if there's still healthy numbers of red-blooded American men applying to America's top college, that's assuming that there are also not biases in the admissions officers doing the admitting. So if you think about sort of who's doing the reading, who's doing the admitting, heavily dominated by women and also gay men, we have a situation in which there is a very, very high likelihood that individuals who are doing the admitting are not perfect. Everyone has got a bias. No one is perfectly unbiased. And so we have a situation that, in addition to men peeling off every step of the way, red-blooded American men peeling off every step of the way in terms of actually getting to the point at which they can even be reviewed in an admissions committee, then you have the people doing the deciding being heavily stacked against red-blooded American males, by and large, in terms of what they're looking for, what they relate to. So this is a problem if you care about red-blooded American male numbers on American college campuses. But frankly, most people don't care about red-blooded American male numbers on America's most selective college campuses. And that's why this is a relatively novel series that I'm doing, because no one is standing up and saying that, we have low numbers here, this is a problem. But me, basically. I am like the only one. I think that no group should have a disproportionate number of hurdles preventing them from being given a fair shake in the admissions process. And if there is one group that I think has the most unfair shake in the admissions process, it would be the red-blooded American male of all races, by the way, that is just getting hit on all ends from this process. Again, I've shared some statistics today that I think back that up as it relates to who is doing the recruiting and admitting. But also, when you think about digging into the numbers, even at a 50-50 school, which, as you saw earlier, and I'll show it again right now, most schools are not 50-50 anymore. Most schools are 55% female or more in their undergraduate population. Some are 65% female or more. But of the males who end up actually clearing the hurdles and getting in and matriculating, what percentage of those are red-blooded American male? My argument would be far lower percentage than you may otherwise assume, because a lot of them are not the stereotypical red-blooded American male just based off of interest disposition overall. If you throw in the one definition that includes heterosexual in there, that would take down the numbers even more dramatically. When you look at the numbers, particularly on most selective college campuses in the United States, at the numbers of individuals who self-report as not being straight or heterosexual. So something to think about as we really contemplate who is doing the admitting and who is doing the matriculating into the most selective colleges and universities. And of course, it colors the actual overall population of who's going to these schools. And then it's a self-fulfilling thing. When this happens for year after year, decade after decade, red-blooded American men, whether they're white, black, Hispanic, or Asian, see who is populating these college campuses. And increasingly, red-blooded American males feel like the odd man out and like they really may not belong at such a college or university. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up or also consider subscribing to my channel. If you would like to work with me one-on-one throughout the entire admissions process, or maybe just for part of it, go to my website, collegemeister.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free throughout the entire college admissions process.